Sean Morrison represents the 17th District, Cook County, CEO and founder of Morrison Security, Cook County GOP Chairman, and Palos Township GOP Committeeman. Welcome back to the program, Commissioner. How are you, sir?
Good, John. How are you?
Well. Did you have a good presidential weekend?
I did. Luckily, I wasn't one of those, 26 people that were shot in Cook County. But for those folks, I feel bad. But for me, I'm fine.
Well, let's jump into that. I was scrolling through your Twitter feed this morning. I saw 21 shot, 5 dead in Chicago. You asked Kim Foxx and Chief Judge Evans if they felt their soft on crime prosecution and bail and sentencing reforms guidelines have contributed to the carnage. I guess the first question, have you heard back?
Well, those were questions that I actually posed to them in person at several committee meetings, over the course of the last, previous several months. Unfortunately, both of them replied to the negative. And what do I mean by that, John? So from the state's attorney side, I mean, these policies, these soft on crime policies from the prosecutorial guidelines have been established by Kim Foxx, and she's not moved or budged from them. In fact, she's doubled down, especially in the last 24 months, to where she's made more crimes where we're not going to prosecute. We're not going to prosecute people that are on corners that are selling dope. We're not going to prosecute people that get pulled over in a car and they have dope on them. I mean, literally, this is what she says. She's not going to prosecute them. She says rather than that, she's going to focus her prosecutions on guns. And the question that I asked her, John, was point blank. It says, well, do you think that your lack of prosecuting policies by arresting these folks and holding them, by them being out on the streets, do you think that's contributing to the amount of gun violence that's taking place? And her response to me was just, as a matter of fact, no.
And she based that on what?
Disappointing.
Studies or gut instinct?
I think gut instincts and some of the studies. They seem to really parse the data that they use. They keep pointing to a 2017 Loyola white paper that was done that talks about, recidivism rates for those that are on electronic monitoring and or on bail. But what she fails to talk about in that very study is that it says roughly 18% of those that are arrested and let go on to commit more crimes. So if we've got 20,000 violent crimes that are committed, and we take 18% of those, we're still looking at a few thousand people. Well, if I'm the victim of those few thousand people, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want my family to be part of those victims.
Sean Morrison is here, Cook County Commissioner. Okay, even if you extrapolate out the gang-on-gang violence, which has been around since Al Capone, you take that out.
Yep.
Because people say, well, it's gone on forever. It's gang-on-gang violence. Once in a while, an innocent person gets caught in the crossfire. What really scares the hell out of Chicagoans and anybody living in an urban area nowadays, two things: carjacking and these mobs of shoplifters. That is hurting tourism. It's hurting conventions. It's stopping people from going downtown, spending money in the entertainment industry. It's a cascading buffet table of misery. What would you recommend to begin with, the state's attorney and Timothy Evans, and then right on to the mayor and the superintendent? What would you recommend that we change tomorrow to stem carjackings and these shoplifting mobs?
So look, I mean, it's really simple. We just have to prosecute, and we have to have people that are committing the crimes. They have to go through the system. They can't be let go on no bail to low bail. Unfortunately, the law's been passed now in the state where they're trying to eliminate bail totally, unless it's a massively violent crime. I mean, you can't allow people to commit crime, to commit this mass shoplifting, as you talked about, these shoplifting gangs, by the way, which are oftentimes violent. It's just shoplifting. Well, it's just shoplifting.
No, it's violence. Yeah, it's violence.
It's violent. I mean, there are people getting beaten, and they're getting maced and getting bleached and all these types of things. And not just one incident, John. We're talking dozens and dozens of incidents on an ongoing base, and they're refusing to prosecute them. They're refusing to prosecute. But what's most alarming is they're refusing to keep these folks that are on the bad side of the law in the jail, in the county system, until their cases are done. And these cases have been delayed now, unfortunately, for the last 24 months. These cases have been delayed months, if not years.
I think it was Tom Dart. It might have been Tom Dart, or it might have been Superintendent Brown. I can't remember which. Who said, this is a while ago, said, look, we have 90 people charged with murder who are now out on electronic monitoring. Not only may they commit another crime, might not, but the problem is they become targets for the people who think they shot at and killed, murdered opposite gang members. So that's a terrible, terrible issue too. Is the electronic monitoring system is broken. Superintendent Morrison, I heard from some that this explosion in crime is because of COVID. Do you buy that?
Not one bit. Not one bit. If anything, if there's any contributory fact of COVID, it's the fact that we have people that commit a crime, get charged, are let go on bail or no bail or electronic monitoring, and then it's taking months and months and months until they're brought back into the system to have their hearing. So the amount of time that they're given before that they get to come back in has been extended and exacerbated due to COVID. John, if I can go to one point, let me give you a couple of recent statistics from within less than a month from now. Within less than a month, and I can get newer ones for you. But to your point about people out on murder charges, 109 people are out on murder right now, and the number might be greater. But listen to this one: we have just on the sheriff's program, we have nearly 860 people out, felonies for aggravated use of a weapon. And of that 880 or so, 428 of them are felonies that are re-prosecuted, and they're charged with felonies and felonies in possession of a firearm, meaning they have multiple and previous felonies, and then they were arrested again committing another felony and having a firearm on them. 428 of them. That does not include the judge's electronic monitoring.
Yeah, we don't even know what Evans' program. We don't know. That's all. That information isn't public. We have no idea how many or where they are.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
in our final. Yeah, I want to just get to one other point. Sean Morrison is here. Also, look, and I understand why. They're fatigued and they're disheartened. I think police need support. I think they need understanding. I think they need indemnification. I'm not talking about the worst cases, but just the general cases. And we need a refocus of what the police's job description is. We can't have them be neighborhood counselors. We can't have them be after-school providers. What do you think we can do to improve the morale of the CPD and the rank and file in particular?
It's really simple. Law enforcement needs to understand that their local and regional elected officials will have their back. They need to understand that their mayors will have their back. They need to understand that their aldermen will have their back. They need to understand that the county board members will have their back. And what do I mean by having their back? Listen, if you commit a crime and I pull you over and you refuse to exit your car, or you decide you want to fight with me, you lose the ability for me not to fight you back, right?
Yeah.
Law enforcement in general is allowed to use whatever force is necessary to stop and take into custody an individual combatant. Once you transition from a traffic stop to somebody that's being combative or physical with law enforcement, you should seriously expect that you are going to receive that same level of physical force, if not greater, in order to subdue you. And unless politicians accept that and support the police and tell them that, then the feckless politicians that are elected, that are voting to defund the police, that are voting to do all these things, they're part of the problem. They're part of the problem.
There's a story, Commissioner, today, and I'm looking for it. I don't see it in my stack. I must have left it on the printer. But a 4-year-old child, at the urging of his father, who got into it and started waving a gun around, I believe, at a McDonald's because his order was wrong. The cops came, taking the guy out of the car, and the father urged the son to shoot at the police, a 4-year-old. And luckily, the cops said he was able to deflect the gun from the child's hand and also yell at the same time, "Child, child, child," so the child wasn't shot. It's a horrific story. I'll try to find out where it's from and clean up this mess on aisle 89 here in a few minutes, but I was shocked by that earlier today as well.
I have not heard that. I've been busy all day. But
yeah, you'll see it.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
That is horrific, and please, I hope that the Cook County State's Attorney's Office fully prosecutes and that gentleman is not released on bond. And frankly, that's a prime example of DCFS, and that parent needs to lose his custodial rights.
I can tell you it was not in Chicago. I know that. I just can't remember where it happened, so it's not a Chicago story. I thought I had it here, but I don't have it in my stack, so I'll find out. Sean Morrison, thanks for your time. Appreciate it as always.
You got it, John. Thank you very much. Bye.
Sean Morrison, 17th District Cook County Commissioner, joining us here on WLS. We have to talk about it if we're going to solve it. 548 at WLS.